Hi, guys. So I thought about sharing my own perspective on coming to the table and just summarize the conversations that we've had on coming to the table. So, this is a series that we have been doing this October. And why I decided to do this series was I just wanted to see what other people go through in terms of coming to the table and to encourage one person out there or however many people out there who have had some challenges on coming to the table because coming to the table is not easy. It's not easy. You have to keep on telling yourself each and every day that I have to show up to this table. I have to come to this table no matter what. And I believe I shared my own perspective on what coming to the table is. And I can clearly mention that coming to the table is showing up to that responsibility, no matter how you feel, no matter what the circumstances are. That is my own definition of coming to the table. And I mean, it's been quite an interesting journey and the conversations that we've had on the different perspectives. And I will tell you the truth, I don't have 10 steps or 50 steps on how to show up to the table. I believe each and every person has their own specific path to follow, but I believe there's some things that are, relatable, or some things that we can actually, think about or think about doing so that we aim to show up to the table every other time and consistently. And I know, sometimes it's not easy, especially, people normally say you have to do certain things consistently. You have to go to the gym consistently, do this consistently. And it's not easy being consistent. But what do you do if you're not consistent? You don't beat yourself up. I liked what Beatrice shared, that, when you fall down, you pick yourself back up and you learn. What are you learning from that mistake? What are you learning from that particular aspect that you are not so good at, or you thought that you should have done it in a different way, but then it turned out in another way. So what do you do about it? You learn. You don't beat yourself up, because as human beings, as ambitious people like myself, I beat myself up a lot, especially when things don't go well. So what do you do when things don't go well, when you don't show up to the table the way you anticipated to show up to that table? So you learn, and the next time when you are called on to show up to the table, then you do it differently. So as I said, I don't have 10 steps, but I believe I have at least 3 ways in which we can show up to the table. And you might have more ways, and my guests also shared more ways and their own perspective on showing up to the table. So I believe if you combine all these things and other lessons shared by different people all around the world, can actually figure out how to show up to the table each and every day, because our responsibilities are there daily, whether we are there or not, or whether we show up for them or not, they are there. So what do we do about showing up to the table, or what can we do to show up to that table? So for me, there are 3 things. And I believe these are very important things to think about and to have and to do and to execute. So number 1, showing up to the table is setting up an objective or setting up a goal. I totally believe in the power of creating goals for yourself, or creating goals for your own personal journeys, So what does that mean? So creating a goal or creating an objective is sitting down, and it doesn't have to be a year's resolution. It can be part of that, but it doesn't have to be. So you can make your goals daily. You can wake up each and every day and tell yourself, today I'm going to be positive about the day. Today I'm going to think about X and X and X, and I'm going to do X and X and X, So yes, so what are you going to do about those specific goals? So you write them down, as I said, daily, weekly, monthly, yearly, 6 months, and you tell yourself you're going to do these specific tasks, and this is the outcome that you want to achieve. And, you know, you write them down and you believe that you can achieve them. And every day when you wake up, every day when you decide that this is what I'm going to do and this is the objective that you want to meet, you have to push yourself to do all these things. And you don't have to necessarily push yourself. Some things come naturally, but you tell yourself, I'm going to do this and I'm going to make sure that I'm going to attain this particular outcome at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, at the end of the year. But then when it doesn't happen, you don't beat yourself up. You tell yourself that this was something that I aimed to do. It did not happen like this. So what do I learn? How can I do it differently so that I attain this particular thing or duty or responsibility that I wanted to do? So number one, I believe, is setting an objective, setting a goal. And people do vision boards sometimes just to make sure that they actually attain certain goals. And it's good to wake up and look at those goals each and every other day and tell yourself, okay, today I said I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this before the year ends. So let me embark on this and hopefully it will turn out the way I envisioned it. So I believe showing up to the table is knowing what the objective is for that particular for that particular responsibility or that particular task. So it's setting up the objective. Number two is creating workable tasks to meet that objective, because objectives can be really wide, can be really grand. So are you going to set out to do these things to meet these objectives? How are you going to do that? So break them down into manageable tasks, because sometimes we push ourselves so much and it ends up hurting us physically and also mentally and emotionally. So those tasks, set them out in manageable tasks. You don't have to achieve them all at one go. It can be one by one by one. Like, for example, if you tell yourself you are 70 kgs and you're saying you want to be 60 kgs by the end of, let's say, the year or after 6 months, you have to go to the gym daily and you have to put in that work to get to that 60 kgs, and if you tell yourself, I want to have abs, you just work on them each and every day. They don't come at one go. It's a process. So goals and objectives, you have to have manageable tasks under each of those objectives so that you have a very tactful way on how to meet this objective or this task. And then also that's number two, manageable tasks. So breaking down the objectives into manageable tasks. Then number three is having an accountability partner. And I will say this is one of the most important things, having an accountability partner. You have to be answerable to someone. You can't just, do your thing and say, okay, I think I'm doing it well, and say, okay, let's just do it and we'll move on with life. I don't believe in that. I believe in having accountability partners. And accountability partners can be different people. It can be your very close friend, your confidant, someone that you trust to tell you the truth. Sometimes we have friends who tell us what we want to hear, but we need to have friends who can tell us the truth about, where we're going wrong and if there's anything that we need to change. And even you sharing with them and telling them, okay, so I was supposed to do this, but it turned out like this. What do you think about this? Someone that you can actually, be bare around them, be naked, not literally, but naked in terms of sharing your own journey and sharing what you think they can help you with. So you need to have an accountability partner, a friend, a confidant, even a mentor. At work, it can be your supervisor if you're very close with your supervisor, or a peer who you can share with certain aspects around your work that they can help you with. So accountability is very, very important. So those are the three things that I believe you need to have, or you need to embrace, so that you can show up to any table that you're called to. So number one is setting an objective. So for example, if you're going to give a speech, what is the objective of giving that speech? You want to share, your life's journey. You want to share about a particular topic around your area of expertise. So That's your objective. Number 2, what are the manageable tasks? You want to write down the speech and go through the speech at least 2 days before you intend to give out the speech. Those are manageable tasks. Number 3, have an accountability partner. So before you give that speech, you can share it with your accountability partner and even rehearse it in front of them so that they tell you whether that speech actually makes sense, if there's anything you need to add. So those are the 3 things that I believe can help us to show up to the table. And those have helped me even in the moments where I feel like I'm not able to show up to the table, or I don't have the confidence to show up to the table. And, when you do this every other time, you actually get that confidence and you show up to the tables and you give your all and you give your best. Even if it's not easy, even if you feel the fear, even if you don't have that confidence, you can still show up. And especially when you're prepared and you know your thing, you can actually do wonders. So those are my takes on showing up to the table or coming to the table. And I hope that you'll even go back and listen to some of the insights that my guests shared. I love what Beatrice shared about doing it afraid. And that's one of the things I believe we should embrace, doing it afraid. Sometimes we show up to tables and we're not really sure about what we're saying or what we need to say. And we still do it. We need to do it. If you prepare, definitely you will be able to do it. You'll be able to execute whatever you need to execute. That speech, that presentation, you'll be able to do it. And my other guest, Veronica, shared about confidence, which is built in your, knowing who you are, knowing your value, being competent, knowing your thing. So all these things combined can actually help you to show up to the table and you do your thing. So girls, boys, ladies and gentlemen, I hope this series has really inspired you to show up to the table, to come to the table no matter what. And I hope that this will help you to, execute your responsibilities in the best way you know how. And please, guys, don't beat yourself up if things are not going the way you thought they were meant to go. There's always another day to, pick yourself up and learn and become different and become a better person and become a better father, a better supervisor, a better, whatever responsibility that you have. So I hope you show up to these tables, show up confident, show up with that fear. And I'm telling you guys, you can do this. You can do this. Thank you for watching this series. And I hope you have been inspired. Continue liking, subscribing, sharing everything that you have learned, everything that has inspired you throughout this series. And I'm looking forward to hearing from you guys. Thank you so much.